Thanks for joining us on In 20. My name is Roshan Narayan. Now, if you want to catch all the highlights from today's show and the previous shows, do find us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And if you're watching us live on YouTube, click on the subscription button. We need all the love and support because that's the only way we can pay Mr. Danny Mills, who's joining us pitchside again. Danny, the last time you joined us, you nearly died. You were blown away. It was gale force, winds, rain. Everything was going wrong. But what's right is Leeds is back in the Premier League.
Back in the Premier League, champions here at Pride Park today. The sun is shining. That's a sprinkler coming out the top of my head. Nothing else. Just to show that we are live here in the stadium. But no, I mean, an incredible weekend. When everybody thought it was going to go into the last sort of weekend of the season, suddenly now, Leeds not only get promoted, but suddenly because, Brentford and West Brom both slip up, they become champions as well. And, fantastic news for Leeds United, all their fans. 16 years has been a long time. But also fantastic news, I think, for the Premier League. I think the Premier League is a better place with Leeds United in it.
And you're at Pride Park. I can sound how proud you are, or rather I can hear how proud you are with the fact that your former team is back in the Premier League. But you just think about the journey you've gone through with Leeds, what the club has gone through, the Champions League, the highs of the Champions League, and then administration back in 2007. It's like a fairy tale come true.
I mean, I was at the club. I was away on loan at Middlesbrough at the time when they got relegated. I came back and did pre-season when they were in, obviously, what was the Championship, all those years ago. And I had to leave because of financial reasons. And it's been really difficult since. Numerous, very indifferent owners, should we say. One or two challenging managers and one or two strange decisions at times. But I think, a lot of praise has to be given to Andrea Radrizzani for coming in, putting the club on a level playing field, stabilising the football club, sorting out the issues around the ground, around the training ground, sorting out the financial situation. And then himself with Angus Kinnear and Victor Orta bringing in Marcelo Bielsa, who at the time was a huge gamble. And it was an expensive gamble at the time. But what Marcelo Bielsa has done in this period with effectively the same team, to take a team from 13th in the table, 83 points last season, 87 points and champions this time around. Everybody is lauding Jurgen Klopp, what he's done over the last 4 or 5 seasons. Now, what Bielsa has done with that same team, a couple of loanees, granted, is sensational. If we go from that position to champions and back in the Premier League, it is nothing short of phenomenal.
And he's a character both on and off the pitch, correct?
Oh, he's fabulous. Still doesn't really do one-to-one interviews. I don't think you're going to get them in any time in the future, no matter who you are. But I think, for all those that maybe didn't see, if you look on social media, if you look at him coming out of his flat on Friday night when they got promoted, he's brilliant. He walks out and he's almost embarrassed that all these fans are lauding him. He comes and he's and he's all a little bit sort of nervous about, okay, why are all these fans here? Why are they outside my house? How do they know where he lives? Whether he's not very big, just around the corner from the Leeds training ground. But no, I mean, what he's done came with a massive reputation. But I think, there was a lot of issues. We know that the way that his team's played, high intensity, high tempo, often accused of burning out. We know that he's walked away from jobs in the past. But I think now when, Pep Guardiola looks up to him, Pochettino looks up to him, so many managers see him as like the godfather of coaching. It's going to be very, very interesting next season in the Premier League.
You said, when you were asked to leave Leeds, it hurt you. I mean, now looking at what's going on, have you gone past that moment? And are you happy for your former team?
Oh, I'm absolutely delighted. I've lived in and around Leeds for 21 years now. That's where I've been. 5 years at the football club. Some great times. 2 European semi-finals, 3rd in the Premier League. We came so close and we had good times. It's a massive football club. Last 2 seasons in the Championship, sold out every single week. Even before that, even when they're in League One, still getting 20,000+ fans in the stadium. I mean, it's magnificent for the city. It's incredible for the football club. And I think that the feel-good factor is back. no one has the divine right to be in the Premier League. We know that. You have to earn the right. But what I will say is Leeds being there, I hope you can still hear me.
Yeah, don't worry, you're fine.
As it all goes off in the background. What I will say is that no one has the divine right to be in the Premier League. You have to earn that right. And Leeds have done that now. They've been trying for so long. But I think now if they can survive next season, and I think they will be in the Premier League for several years to come.
Now, the most watched game at club level globally is Manchester United, Liverpool. Now it's Leeds versus Manchester United. How big is that, the rivalry? And it's back in the Premier League.
Oh, it's intense. No one likes Leeds. We know that. Leeds Chelsea is always very, very fierce. Especially between the fans. Leeds Man United is always very, very fierce. Leeds Sheffield United will be just as bad as well. There are a lot of big derbies, and once the fans are back in, and hopefully that's going to be round about October time. That's sort of the rough guidelines. Fingers crossed from our government that fans could be back in stadiums by October, which won't be long after the season starts. Those rivalries are absolutely huge. Leeds take an immense amount of fans travelling with them. Incredibly passionate. Ellen Road is one of the most hostile atmospheres that you will find in the Premier League. And I think, that's part of the richness. For those that haven't had the opportunity, especially where you are, that haven't had the opportunity to go to live Premier League games, the atmosphere that Leeds will add to many, many games across the season will be absolutely magnificent and so intense.
I can't wait for it. Man, hopefully next season I'll be there beside you, pitchside. But
you can come with me, Roshan. You come to Leeds and I'll look after you. Don't worry.
That's what you said the last time, and you didn't answer my call. But never mind, I forgive you because you're my friend.
Yeah, but it's Premier League now, so don't worry. You didn't want to come because it was Championship. You only deal with the big time.
Oh my God, you liar, man! Don't do that to me. I want to be taken care of when I'm at Leeds. But one game, like I was about to mention, that I didn't want to be part of, I didn't want to watch, was Norwich and Burnley. 2 red cards, 2 goals for Burnley, 2 red cards for Norwich. But the performance from Norwich, yes, they're relegated. But was that for you? And I hope I don't sound disrespectful. One of the most unprofessional, performances you've seen from a Premier League side.
Yeah, it's poor, really, especially getting red cards as well, because they will carry on into next season. And of course, that affects players, whether they're going to move, that they won't be available or whatever it is. It's been poor. Norwich have been, the last 2 or 3 games, they haven't been great. You can't say it any other way. That's just a simple fact. That's been very, very disappointing. But to get 2 red cards, to lose in the manner which they have, it's disappointing. Daniel Farke was coming out and saying beforehand, we want to carry some sort of momentum into next season. Well, that's gone completely. The players look absolutely deflated, and I think for the last games they should just play the kids. Give them an opportunity, because the players at the moment, they look like they've had enough.
Yeah. As for Farke, would he be there next season in the Championship?
I think he probably will be, because he came up this season. He continued to play the same way. I think the club understood that. They didn't spend any money. They didn't dip into the transfer market really at all. He gave youth players a chance. Undoubtedly, they will lose some of those players. Can he do it again next season in the Championship when some big clubs with a lot of money are coming down? It'll be interesting to see. But I think he will remain at least for the first 6 months at Norwich, and they'll see how it goes.
Okay, moving over to West Ham 3, Watford 1. Do you think that's it for the Hornets? Because if my knowledge is correct, they've got Man City and Arsenal in their final 2 fixtures. And they're in the bottom half.
I think they might just need a point, if I'm honest.
Oh, really?
When I look at Bournemouth, well, they're 3 points clear.
Okay.
And their goal difference is slightly better. So that means that, Villa and Bournemouth are going to have to win 1, draw 1.
Okay.
I'm just not convinced that's going to happen. I've not seen a lot from Villa, not seen an awful lot from Bournemouth. And I think Watford have got enough in there to possibly get a point in that. Troy Deeney being out isn't helpful to them. But I think they might have the ability to pick a draw up. And I think that might be enough, because I can't see Bournemouth and Villa winning their next 2 games.
But Bournemouth have Southampton and Everton. Surely that's a lot more easier to, try and get something as compared to what I said was Watford, which is Man City and Arsenal.
Southampton are playing well.
Okay.
They're doing very, very well. Manchester City, what do they got to play for? Champions League places in the team, perhaps. Arsenal, will they have one eye on the cup final? Could he possibly rest players? There's all those sort of things to come into it. Yeah. Southampton, it's with Bournemouth. That's a South Coast derby. There'd be nothing better than Southampton to send Bournemouth down. Some of your arch rivals. So there are no easy games at this stage. And I think what happens is it's like here today. Leeds are champions. They've probably been celebrated for the last couple of days, but they might come here with an adrenaline spike, play with complete freedom, and it could go one of two ways. They could win 3-0, or they could just not turn up and they could lose 3-0. You just don't know, and that's why we get strange results at this time of the season.
Was it strange the fact that you saw some clubs that you thought would survive in the Premier League, but that break happened due to reasons we all know? Did that disrupt them? You mean, look at Manchester United as well. We will talk about them a bit later on, but it's the flip that happened. That little break, everybody went away. It worked for some clubs. It hasn't worked for a lot of clubs, especially in the bottom half, trying to battle for survival.
Well, you're in the bottom for a reason. After 30 games, if you're at the bottom of the table, you deserve to be there. Simple as that. You've not been good enough. And the same clubs are down there. It hasn't really changed. It hasn't really changed an awful lot at the top either. So, no, I think, what were we, sort of 28, 29 games into the season when we had this little break. By then, you pretty much know who's good and who's not. And I think, that really hasn't changed. Maybe with the 5 substitutions, some of the bigger squads have been able to deal with it better and they've been able to utilise those 5 substitutions. But apart from that, I expected Norwich to be down there. I expected Bournemouth, Villa, Watford, Brighton possibly to all be down there, and West Ham. So I don't think you can use this break in any way, shape or form as blaming why these teams are struggling at the bottom of the league.
So why is Villa struggling at the bottom of the league? I know they have Arsenal next, followed by West Ham away. Do you think they can
they've
pull it
not
off?
Scored enough goals. Defensively, they've not been good enough, and they've not scored enough goals this season. As simple as that. That's 2 major failings.
Yeah.
Why you're struggling, and that's why they are down there. They haven't had a sense. What's their top goal scorer got? Handful of goals. Maybe a couple more. Not many, and that's why they've struggled massively.
So if Leeds is coming up and they watch the likes of Norwich, Villa, and the other teams you mentioned, what should they do in the summer to make sure that they have enough and more in their squad to have a decent run in the season next year?
Well, I think you have to look at what Sheffield United have done. They've continued to play the same way. We saw Leeds take on Arsenal in the League Cup. And when they outplayed Arsenal for the first half, they play with fantastic intensity. I think they will have to. There's 2 or 3 areas that Leeds need to strengthen. Centre forward is one. Patrick Bamford has worked his socks off this season. His work rate, you cannot question that in any way, shape or form. But no one will disagree that he has missed 1 or 2 chances from time to time. And because of that, Leeds have faltered on occasion. Leeds haven't been clinical enough, across the board. So if they can bring the centre forward that can score goals, great opportunity for them. Centre half is another big problem, I think, because Ben White, who's been one of the best players in the Championship, is a Brighton player. He's currently on loan. Will Brighton want him back? Will a bigger club want him back, which I think is quite feasible because he has been that good this season. So can Leeds keep hold of him? That will be a huge question for Leeds United. And maybe the goalkeeper. Meslier has come in, very, very young goalkeeper and done very, very well. But do they need to bring in a little bit of experience? And I've muted sometimes, someone like Joe Hart, who would be available, that would come in and maybe be the number 2 to help out a younger goalkeeper when things undoubtedly will get a little bit tougher as the season goes on next year.
Joe Hart to start, or just there, be there like Rob Green is at Chelsea, just to give it some advice?
Yeah, exactly. I think just to come in, just to be somebody to learn off. And Meslier has not been in this in this country for too long, not been in the league. Someone like Joe Hart, been there, seen it, done it, has worked incredibly hard throughout his career. A young goalkeeper like that can learn, from the very, very best. Kiko Casilla, I think everyone's a little bit undecided about what happens to him next season. But don't be surprised. Marcelo Bielsa likes a very, very small squad. He's never really added to that up until now. And what I think he will do is he might even pull 2 or 3 names that, not that we've never heard of, but we are very, very surprised at, because that's his dossier on players is sensational. He knows everything. He knows where they go shopping. He knows their pet's name. He knows what breed of pet. He knows what colour nail varnish the wife uses. His dossier is like this thick on every single player. He is absolutely incredible when it comes to detail. So don't be surprised if he pulls a couple of left field players out from what we think obscurity, but won't be for him.
And this clip is going on around the internet where Pep Guardiola mentioned to him that he knew more about Barcelona than Pep did, which is unbelievable, because when you talk about Pep Guardiola, you talk about one of the most intense people on the planet as a manager, as a human being. Actually, that's a lie. I don't know him as a human being, but how would he have taken that result, that loss against Arsenal in the FA Cup?
Huge disappointment for Manchester City. He won't have been happy with that. Manchester City want to win as many trophies as possible. Of course, we all know the Champions League is the holy grail. That's the one that they really want. But in the meantime, they won the domestic treble last season. They wanted to retain that trophy, and they just had a bad day. Arsenal had a very, very good day. Manchester City had a bad day, and unfortunately for Manchester City, they've had too many bad days this season. It hasn't quite been there and been right for them.
Okay, then you say the treble last season, but if you're being very honest, Liverpool should have won last season. They didn't. They messed up. That's why City were crowned champions of the Premier League. It didn't happen this time around. So is Pep Guardiola this symbol of hope for Manchester City? I mean, they talk about the Premier League, which is already won. We know that. FA Cup was won by previous managers. It's the Champions League. He's not done it again. Oh, he might do it. You never know. Does it look like it?
I think they've got a chance. When you look at Barcelona, in a little bit disarray at the moment. Real Madrid will always be strong because of their experience. Manchester City still have to be one of the favourites. Aguero possibly coming back as well. City on their day have the ability to destroy any team 4 or 5-0. We've seen that. Going forward, they are absolutely exceptional. The players that they have, when they all gel, they're just superb. Could it be David Silva's, final send-off? That one piece of silverware he's not won at Manchester City. So Manchester City will be very, very dangerous in the Champions League. Write them off at your peril. That's the one that City really want. The club want that. Guardiola wants that. The players probably want that more than anything. And maybe that's what they're gearing everything up to at the moment.
Okay, Arsenal are into the finals of the FA Cup. It's Manchester United versus Chelsea in a few hours. It's two managers who have a lot to prove. One might not be there next season, i.e. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and then you have Frank Lampard, who's been buying every top young player left, right, and centre from across the globe. Who would be the favourites in this game for you?
It's difficult to say. Both teams are littered with attacking talent at the moment. Both teams have struggled to defend. Chelsea more so. Their defensive record hasn't been particularly good in recent games. Manchester United, their defence doesn't look solid, but their stats and their figures maybe suggest that against that. I think it'll be an open attacking game. Neither of these teams want to defend in particular. This is not a Jose Mourinho Chelsea, is it? That they want to get 0-0 from the game and they'll win it on the counter-attack. So I think it'll be an incredibly open game. It could easily end up 2-2. It could go beyond that, extra time, penalties, whatever it might be. But I think it'll be a very, very entertaining game.
But is it safe to say that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has more to lose in this game? Because if he does end up winning the FA Cup, you never know. They might give him that contract. They might, just say, we can give you one more season. Or will this be a swan song for him? Come on, Danny, put your,
I think it's difficult because I've always, there are still managers like Pochettino out there. There are managers out there with maybe more experience. But Ole has turned it around in recent times. I still think they need to add. Recruitment at Manchester United has been the biggest problem, and that's been their biggest failing over the last 6 or 7 seasons. Look at Chelsea's recruitment already. The players that they've brought in. Pulisic, they brought in 6 months a year ago. They've brought in Ziyech as well, Timo Werner. They probably need another defender to bring into that as well. But their recruitment has been absolutely brilliant. Manchester United has not been so good. Harry Maguire, Wan-Bissaka have been good, but that's been it. A lot of the other acquisitions haven't really worked out for Manchester United, and they need to address that. And it's really who's in charge of recruitment, I think, at Manchester United, not just about the manager.
That's a good point. I know, before I let you go, I know you spoke about Anthony Martial the last time you were here on the show. But if I gave you an opportunity, now if you were going to make the decision who's the next striker to be bought for Manchester United, if I told you either Harry Kane or Aubameyang were available, who would you go for? And you could only pick one.
I think I would probably take Aubameyang, just because he's got pace. Harry Kane is an incredible striker. We know that. He has had 1 or 2 injury issues over the last 2 or 3 seasons, and that would give me a little bit of doubt. I watched him at Newcastle in the week, and it just doesn't look sharp. Something's missing, and I think that's maybe just fitness for Harry Kane. But I think at the moment, Aubameyang, the way his pace, his power, would just give him the edge over Harry Kane right this moment, and that's purely down to Harry Kane's injuries.
Okay. Thank you very much, Danny. It has been 20 minutes. It's been an absolute pleasure. I've enjoyed the sprinklers behind you. Every few seconds it's been going over your head. You look fantastic, Danny.
Just watering my hair. Do you know what I mean? That's what it is. I'm trying to get it to grow.
All right. Thank you, my friend. Have a good day, and I shall talk to you very soon. Thanks, Danny, for replying as well. Remember, it's In20, our Facebook page, Twitter account, and Instagram account. And if you're following us on YouTube, do turn on the notifications. Till the next time. Bye-bye.